Multimodality in the exploration of cultural groups and their traditions is an exceptional platform to expose individual identity. Reindeer in My Saami Heart, a film documentary produced by Australian director Janet Merewether, follows Saami in Hilda Tapio as she exposes the intricate and rich nature of her language, culture, and how, over the last half a century, her identity has been continually challenged.
This place where they have done this.
Through carefully selected representations, Merewether develops the audience's perception of the Saami identity by engaging with the culture and invoking relatability and empathy with the oppressed culture of the Saami. The Saami people are the nomadic indigenous persons of the Sampi, and they are inextricably linked to their land. So much so, there are literally hundreds of words to describe the snow. The thickness of it, if it will rattle the equipment on the sled, if it's blown away, and how easy it will be to herd their reindeer. Language is an integral element of culture and identity, and to have such an array of words for snow is a direct indication that the snow and the reindeer herding is an essential element of the Saami identity.
Aika. Leitsi slatta jikkit. Jaurgattiin, koodit. Tälle visut jajavali. Aika. Teitä raafalas paikki. Altut njollumiisit.
Merewether, through her blending of modes, develops meaning and representation of the Saami identity through their challenges and values. By overlaying a scene of a tumbling river over a small lake and landscape, the content of Hilda's poem is visually represented, further evoking relatability to culture and oppressed cultures in the audience. After a short time, the landscape fades to black, visually representing the submersion and drowning of the landscape, but also symbolizing the submersion of culture through assimilation, as she says all is underwater in Saami. This is only further developed through the diegetic gushing sounds of the river playing behind her speaking.
Long ago, there were small lakes here, rapids, sounds, bays, small rivers. Now all is underwater. Long ago, this was a peaceful place with foaming reindeer cows. Now all is underwater.
Hilda translates her poem, demonstrating the effect that assimilation policies have had on the Saami identity, and further exemplifies the rich connection and relation to the land that they have. Again, the visuals of this landscape becoming submerged under the water, as Hilda describes, develops a layered meaning of the drowning of culture through assimilation policies, and the literal drowning of the land. The audience is exposed to this connection through the land and the drowning symbolism, and it's through this we're able to shape an interpretation of what a Saami identity is. And it's this interpretation we need to be aware of. While Hilda is exposing to the audience her culture and traditions, she's merely the medium through which Merewether crafts an identity. We, the audience, are manipulated. Through the multimodal elements, we are emotionally manipulated. Everything in the documentary, from the reindeer herding to Hilda's poems, are all out of context, used to build this identity, that which we interpret. This is not to degrade the film or its maker in any regard, but when we ourselves form a perception of the Saami identity, what we're really doing is forming a perception through someone else's perception, through someone else's voice and experience. When this identity, or a perception of an identity, is formed, we can make very clear parallels to assimilation policies and experiences of the Indigenous Australians. These Indigenous people were thought to be uneducated and ill-informed, so the policies allowed the government to dispossess the children and, quote, educate them. The same thing happened to the Saami children. They were forced to be educated in a Swedish boarding school, effectively stripping away their own traditional culture and language in place for a supposedly more civil lifestyle. A civil lifestyle that actively diminished and sought to destroy and assimilate cultural identity in favor of the new locale. An outrageous prospect that unfortunately was repeated continuously around the world. Merewether has excellently crafted Reindeer in My Saami Heart, revealing to the audience through the layered meaning of drowning, in that of culture and assimilation, the Saami culture and in turn the Saami identity through her lens.